Okay, look, real quick, I'm just going to tell you, I was not a fan of the first Black Panther film. I just felt it was very overrated. Now, hold on now, I did like it, but I didn't love it like everyone else did. I have to admit, I was worried about this film, Wakanda Forever. One of the things I was concerned about from the trailer is if this movie could hold its own without Chadwick Boseman. And even so, can the movie be better or as good as the first film? I mean, where to begin? Okay, so let's keep it simple, guys. Without giving anything away, the story is that the king T'Challa has passed away, as we know, so Wakanda is without a king, and a new character emerges onto the scene from an underwater world. He's also a king, and he goes by the name Namor. He and Wakanda butt heads, and there you go, you have your conflict. I want to make it clear, this movie doesn't play out with that Marvel humor so much in this, and I think much of that comes from paying respects to Chadwick's death and trying to deliver a more serious and respectful film. And I also think this film needed that and also benefited from it as well. The movie really builds off of that tone of Chadwick's death becoming, what I have to say, an emotionally driven film that I don't think has been done so far within the MCU. But moving forward, the film still treats itself as a superhero film along with the action scenes and so on. The film quickly addresses from the very beginning how it will handle Chadwick's death, but also implementing into it the story without it being insincere. The movie comes in almost at 3 hours, but I gotta say the pacing at certain points are nicely handled. You have action scenes being placed at the proper times when there needs to be action, and non-action scenes being placed accordingly opposite to that. Where I will give credit to in this film is in its performances. The film isn't your typical superhero film filled with action scenes and eye candy. It delivers along the action scenes some good acting. The main character that we follow in this film is Shuri, and man, I have to say she brings her A game and really delivers a nice job. Her character receives a lot of material to work with and showcasing her mourning and how she's dealing with her anger and pain, all from the loss of her brother King T'Challa. We actually get to see her character grow throughout the film. This actually quite impressed me, as this was something I wasn't quite expecting. Angela Bassett as the Queen did a good job as well, here showcasing a nice performance. Also, other side characters were fleshed out nicely and given more importance in this film than the first, where we were just introduced to them, and this made them more believable than them just being one-dimensional. Now, I don't think Ironheart falls into this category, unfortunately, as there's not much done with her, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that the movie is doing a whole lot, and plus she's getting her own Disney Plus show. That's not to say that she is bad, not at all, but you just don't get enough of her to really understand her because she's underdeveloped, and the movie has to focus on more important things than her. And I would say that this is one of the downsides to this movie, is that it is overstuffed. Let's get into Namor, okay? Let me say this guy has a certain intimidating charm to him that I liked, and this actually quite works well with the villain that he is. He has that cool, calm persona about him, but deep down he is powdered up with anger. I do have some issues though with some of his motivation and choices, but I don't want to give anything away. One thing that I want to point out is that I personally think that your villain's introduction is everything, because this lets us know what the hero's up against. A lot of villains tend to have introductions done on a grand scale to capture our attention, to let us, the audience, know that this character is a problem and that they are the threat. And I think this was done well with the Joker in The Dark Knight and Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. And I really like the way Namor was introduced. It wasn't done in a grandiose way like the two previous villains I mentioned, but it was done in a very subtle introduction that still commanded attention to his demands that came off threatening. I even liked the music that played along with his entrance, but again, I have to stress it out. His entrance was very subtle and muted, but it worked. Maybe not on the level with the two examples I gave with Joker and Bane, but still effective regardless. Speaking of Namor, I even like the way his warriors were introduced early in the film, where they appeared scary as if you were watching a horror film. You'll see what I mean when you watch the film. And using Roger Ebert's 4-star rating system here, I would give this film 3 out of 4 stars. I have to give credit to the director Ryan Coogler for being able to salvage and craft a sequel that was challenging to do production-wise without the lead actor. Is quite commendable. He had a lot of weight on him. However, his directing skills were able to remove this one out of the storm. So hats off to him for being able to pull this off. By the way, folks, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to reach my goal of 500 subs by the end of this year. It would mean the world to me, seriously. No, seriously, it would. So please like and subscribe. I'm just saying.